Face It Alone is the new track from Queen that features vocals from Freddie Mercury. How does this track exist? Is it any good? I mean, let's talk about it. Welcome back to Pixel Positive Music, where we cover all sorts of music from classic rock to synth pop to modern rock to anything else that really sparks our interest. Pixel Positive Music is a growing community of music lovers. We come together, we talk about music, we do reviews, and we just create a positive community that can just really enjoy the art that is music. And if you are interested in something like that, I highly encourage you to hit that subscribe button below so that you don't miss out on any of the awesome content. So, let's get into some Queen. So, Queen is back with their first new song, quote unquote, in 8 years. This is Queen's first track since 2014's Let Me In Your Heart Again, which was released with the Queen Forever compilation album that features Freddie Mercury. As you all likely know, Freddie Mercury, one of the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest frontman and singers of all time. He tragically died in 1991, 31 years ago, which is insane, following a tragic battle with AIDS. The last few years of his life, basically from like 87, 88 to 91, he relentlessly recorded music. I mean, we're talking like nonstop. If you're unfamiliar with Queen, and the kind of general timeline of their career, Queen's first album came out in 73. They kind of hit their fame in 74 with Seven Seas of Rye, Killer Queen. 75, we had Bohemian Rhapsody, and then they had a series of like strong hits throughout the 70s. And then the 80s, they were very global by then. And it was, by their final tour occurred in 1986 for the album A Kind of Magic. It was shortly after that, we believe, that Freddie got his diagnosis for HIV. So after that, the band did not perform live at all. They slowed down substantially with that. Like, they have been pretty consistent with their albums. They slowed down a little bit. Freddie did some solo stuff. He did Barcelona with the Spanish opera singer Montserrat Caballé, which was one of his like bucket list type things. He always wanted to work with her. And then he came back to Queen in 87, and they started working on The Miracle. So The Miracle came out in 1989, and the biggest song from that album is I Want It All. And that is those sessions are where this new track, Face It Alone, comes from. So this is an interesting track. It's been very rare that we get a new track from Queen. Because after The Miracle, they did Innuendo, which was their final album released in Freddie's life. That came out in 91. Biggest hits from that were These Are the Days of Our Lives, and of course The Show Must Go On, which was Freddie's swan song. And then we had, after he died, they worked with the material he had left behind to make the Made in Heaven album, which was their final full album. It released in 1995. It's the final album with Freddie's vocals represented on every track. So we've since 95, we've gotten a lot of compilations, as these classic rock bands do. They did Greatest Hits 1, Greatest Hits 2, Greatest Hits 3, all kinds of other greatest whatever, it's just kind of how it goes. I mean, it's frustrating for fans. For casual music listeners, it's great to like always have access to some sort of greatest hits collection. And with a band like Queen, they have many hits. So it was a shock in 2014 when we got Let Me In Your Heart Again, which was a track that was recorded in the mid-'80s. And the way that one worked is they had vocals, and the band supplied modern instrumentation that they recorded more recently to go with it, and it works great. And on Face It Alone, um, it was a demo from the Miracle Sessions, and they were able to salvage the demo and clean it up for an official release. From what I understood from Brian May's blog post, this was quite a project for the sound team. These demos were not in great condition. They were fragmented and everything else, and they were able to stitch it together, and it sounds great. For me, as like a very, very passionate Queen fan, hearing Freddie Mercury's voice on new music is just a jarring, cathartic, emotional experience. Especially on a song like this. This is a very somber, haunting track. The instruments are like, they're quiet, and the drums are just kind of thumping slowly in the back while Freddie sings this cadence about just your life getting to a point where everything you've done kind of comes to a head, and you have to face everything on your own in the end. And part of me wonders if this song, I'll have to kind of dig into the fandom here to figure out who actually wrote this song, if it was Freddie or if it was Brian or whoever, because Queen did individual songwriting starting with the Miracle, though they credited songs to the whole band, but they still wrote individually for the most part. So I'll have to dig in and kind of see who actually wrote this one, but I wouldn't be shocked if Freddie contributed some vocals here, because it sounds very personal. It sounds like a person who is reaching the end of their life, and they're having to face everything that they've done, everything they haven't done, at the end of the road, and hearing that all these years later. Obviously, I wasn't alive when Freddie Mercury was alive, but Queen's music has had such a profound impact on me. Hearing that is just, it's intense. And I mean, this is a powerful track. It's, like I said, it's slow, it's somber. This is not an energetic, bombastic, like arena hit like some of Queen's biggest hits. This is more akin to the other kind of music that Freddie was working on shortly before he died. The song that comes to mind for me is a track from Made in Heaven called Mother Love. It was the final track that Freddie recorded before he died. This has a very similar vibe to Mother Love. Very somber. But it's powerful. I mean, he sounds incredible. He always sounds incredible, but he sounds so good. His vocals are sharp. He is just at the top of his game. And, I find personally that Freddie was at the top of his game in those final years. It's like he knew, he did know. He knew it was coming, and he knew that his time was limited, and he put every ounce of energy that he had into these final songs. And he also learned to sing better professionally from his work with Monster at Cabell. So it's a powerful track. I am so happy that Queen was able to put this track together and put this out, because it's great. Now, it's very easy to call this a cash grab. Typically, I would agree. Typically, when a band is rehashing old songs, or when they are just literally stitching together fragmented demos, I would say, okay, yeah, maybe it's a cash grab. I don't think it's a cash grab with Queen, though. And the reason is, it has been widely reported, widely acknowledged, and confirmed that Freddie Mercury, one of his final requests to Jim Beach, Queen's manager, was that they always keep his music alive and relevant. For me, this kind of stuff, releasing these old tracks, these demos, making them complete, it lends to that. It's keeping this music alive through the generations. Queen's music already has incredible staying power. No pun, for the Queen fans out there that know that Staying Power is actually a song from Queen. but their music has incredible staying power. It has obviously transcended time and generations. Bohemian Rhapsody is a gargantuan song. We Will Rock You, We're the Champions are like at every sporting event ever. Um, the list goes on. I mean, there's just so many. Somebody to Love, Under Pressure, Radio Gaga, A Kind of Magic, One Vision, another one bites the dust. So many hits, but keeping the music relevant for me, it giving the fans this kind of stuff. As a super fan of Queen, I love this kind of stuff. I love that we are getting new, quote unquote, new tracks from them that feature his vocals all these years later. Because there was kind of a point in time after Made in Heaven where I think we generally kind of thought, okay, we got what we got, and we had some box sets that had like some solo outtakes and things like that from his solo career, but we generally accepted that we were basically done, other than like bootlegs. And then we got Let Me In Your Heart Again. And after that, I'm like, certainly there's not enough material for another album. We're probably not going to get anything else. And now we have this. So the big question is, what comes next for Queen? Queen obviously has been touring with Adam Lambert for the past decade, and while nobody can replace Freddie Mercury, I think Adam Lambert does a fantastic job. I think Freddie would have loved Adam Lambert. I hope to see more touring from Queen. I don't know. Brian is 75, Roger is 73, so they are getting up there, and I don't know if it will happen, but will we get new music? I also don't know, because I keep thinking, okay, surely this is it, we're done, and then they pop up with a new demo, a new track. So I don't know, because The Miracle, the album that this came from, the sessions, is being re-released. It has been, like Queen albums, really released several times, but this one is unique in the sense that has 6 demo tracks that have previously been unreleased. Are unreleased officially. So it'll be the first releases for these 6 tracks. I think Face It Alone is one of those 6. I'm not sure what the others are. I don't know if they're instrumentations. I know that I think Brian sings on a couple, so I don't know if we'll get more Freddie. And a lot of these songs have kind of been in the fandom already as bootlegs and things like that, leaks, but we're getting that. We're getting a resequenced version of The Miracle that has a song that was cut, the Too Much Love Will Kill You, which did show up on Made in Heaven. That will be reinserted into The Miracle in its original place. So that's very interesting. This is a very different re-release for me compared to previous Queen re-releases because it has all these different things. So the question for me, and if they go on tour, I could maybe see Queen doing a Miracle tour because they never got to tour The Miracle. And it was a very successful album for them, but they couldn't tour it. Freddie was too sick. The only track from that album that has ever been played live by Queen is I Want It All, which is a great track, but there are other amazing tracks from The Miracle. Breakthrough, The Invisible Man is phenomenal. The Miracle, Scandal, Was It All Worth It? Even Party and Khashoggi Ship are all right. So hearing some of those tracks live would be incredible, and really capitalizing on this. I mean, they're bringing back some merch from the Miracle era. Like they're doing I Want It All t-shirts now. They're doing a picture disc with the album cover. So I could see it, It seems like maybe they're gearing up for a tour that covers this album. Maybe not. Like I said, they're getting up there. They aren't doing as much with Adam right now, so maybe they're done with touring, and I would accept that too. The other glaring question is Innuendo. There is a lot of potential things they could release from the Innuendo era. I'm sure there are hours of demos and things, just tons and tons of demos. When they re-released all the albums in 2011, they gave us some demos of tracks from Innuendo, for songs like Headlong. They gave us a different version of I Can't Live With You, things like that. So I'm sure there are demos out there. So maybe we'll get something from Innuendo. Maybe we'll get a similar release from Innuendo, which, you know, is the album behind me. Maybe we'll get a similar release where they release some of the lost tracks, the demos, the things like that. So I don't know. Um, Regardless, I'm happy we got Face It Alone. It's an incredible track. I think that most Queen fans are going to love it. I want to know what you guys think about Face It Alone. Obviously, if you liked the video, please hit the thumbs up. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts about Queen, Face It Alone, and kind of what you think the future is for these guys. I know that I mostly focus on Journey on this channel, but Queen is my all-time favorite band, and I am very eager to really dive into some of this stuff. I think I'm going to do a video on The Miracle just to kind of go over just how great that album really is. I think sometimes it gets forgotten. So, until next time, guys.